As we are working with AngularJS, there's always a chance that you might run into some problems and something might not work. I want to point out some of the features of the developer tools in my browser, and I'm using Chrome, but you can also use the developer tools in Firefox, Safari, or Internet Explorer, because in all of these browsers, the developer tools help you track down errors and see what your program is doing. I'm going to show you some examples with Chrome, how to see errors in your scripts, how to open them for debugging, and to set breakpoints. For the Plunk that we're working on, let me go in and turn on the auto refresh again. And now what I want to do is come into script.js, and I want to just type some gibberish. Now, the preview window is still going to update and display the same result I had before. There's no visual indication that something is wrong here, but it is true that in fact I do have an error in my JavaScript code. I just don't know that. And it's always a good idea when you're developing to have the developer tools window open, because it will tell you about errors and you can save many minutes of scratching your head and wondering why something's not behaving correctly on the page, just because there's an error you don't know about. With Chrome on Windows, the easiest way to open the developer tools is to press F12. You can also get to the developer tools through this menu under Tools, Developer Tools, and that works on any platform. And when you open the developer tools, the most important place to watch is this area at the top of the window, because anytime you see the red circle with an X inside and a number beside it, that means that there is an error somewhere on this page. And the best way to see those errors is to come into the console tab. So the developer tools might open up on any of these tabs that are available, but you typically want to keep open the console tab. And one of the challenges with the console tab is it's going to collect all of the log messages, warnings, and errors from everything that is running on this Plunker web page. And that includes things like the Plunker editor, as well as the scripts that I'm writing for my own Plunk. And you can see there's a number of entries in here from editor.js. Those I'm not concerned about because I have no control over them. That's the editor that Plunker delivers. I'm worried about the errors that are in my scripts, and I can see that script.js, that is the script that is in this project, it in fact does have an error. The number over here is even telling me the line of code where this is occurring. It's on script.js, it's on line 3. And if I come into the editor, I can see, yes, that's the cat walking across the keyboard or something like that. So I remove that. The preview window refreshes, but the error is still going to stay down here in the console because this console just collects messages from the beginning of time, where the beginning of time is when you come to the web page. So you will find it occasionally useful to right-click inside of the console and say, let's clear it. That way I can see errors as they occur now. When I type something ridiculous, it pops up as an error in the console. So now I can remove that, clear the console, and I know I'm in much better shape now. Something else that you'll probably find extremely useful over time is the ability to debug some of your scripts and be able to inspect variables inside of your scripts to see what values they hold. So let me give you a quick demonstration of that. Let's say inside of my script, I'm going to compute some result. Result equals 2 plus 2. And I expect that to answer to be 4, but perhaps something is showing a 5 on the screen and I cannot figure out why. For right now, let me just do an alert with that result. That will actually pop it up in a dialog box. That's not something that I suggest you do when you're working with Angular. There's much better ways to do this. But this is what we're going to use for now, just so I can show you some debugging techniques. So let's say that that dialog box pops open and shows the number 5, and I don't expect the number 5. I want to find out what's in that variable. Why is it being computed that way? If that's the case, I will want to come into Sources, and inside of Sources, if this particular tab here is open, there'll be a list of dozens and dozens of JavaScript files, some of which are mine that I'm writing, like script.js, and some of which belong to Plunker in order to build the editor and the preview window and things like that. If I just want to find my file, script.js, then I want to hit Control-O, and now I can just search for it. So I can say, let's find script.js. There it is. Let me open it. And now what I want to do is set a breakpoint. So over here in the numbered columns, if I click there, there'll be a little visual indication that I have a breakpoint here. And the next time this script runs, Chrome will stop execution on this line and I can inspect some things. So now if I change something in my page, like just add a space, now Chrome is re-executing all this JavaScript. You can see that I have stopped on this breakpoint because the whole line is highlighted. If I hover over result, the number 4 pops up, so I can say, ah, yes, well, there was a 4 inside of result. Where did that come from? I can go and inspect some other variables inside of the source code. And then once I think I've found the problem, I can always clear this breakpoint by clicking on it again, and then coming over to this toolbar on the right and say resume script execution. On Windows, I could also press F8 to resume. And now my page continues execution. I can see that a 4 pops up. And based on the code that I saw, that is the expected result. So just to review the couple tips that we covered, you probably want to keep your developer tools open as you're working on the code throughout this course, just to see if any errors pop up. You'll occasionally want to clear the console to get rid of the clutter and be able to see your errors clearly. And when things go really wrong, you can always open a file by coming to the Sources tab, hitting Control-O, typing in the name of your file, and then you can set breakpoints, you can inspect variables, and you can generally go through the process of debugging to figure out what is wrong with your program.